Hello TTI family. Gather around as we embark on a rustic adventure with Ilya, our resident forest architect and master of the DIY tiny cabin. If you've ever wondered what the word suvaja truly means, brace yourselves. You're about to find out. Spoiler, it's not a fancy coffee order. It's a deep dive into the ancient art of living harmoniously with nature, Serbian style. On today's episode of Forest Paths, which, if you didn't know, is where Ilya unleashes his inner lumberjack to craft cabins that could make even the wildest woodland creatures jealous. We're tackling a project that's both budget-friendly and rich in tradition. We're talking about building a tiny cabin for just $3,000, nestled right in the heart of the forest. First things first, it's time to dig. And no, not just any old hole. This is a precision operation. Ilya channels his inner archaeologist to carve out the foundation of this log cabin, following the traditional Serbian method of constructing dugouts. Imagine a cozy hobbit hole, but with a distinctly Balkan flair. These dugouts are not just about keeping your cabin grounded, they're a masterclass in natural insulation. Serbia's continental climate is no joke. Think scorching summers and winters that could freeze your beard right off. But fear not. By nestling the cabin into a hillside, Ilya ensures that Mother Earth herself becomes a giant, eco-friendly thermostat. The semi-subterranean design naturally stabilizes temperatures, keeping the interior cool when the sun's blazing and warm when the frost giants come knocking. Ilya starts by gathering 4 long, straight branches for the chair's legs. After trimming them to equal lengths, he positions them carefully to form a stable base. Using his hammer, he drives nails through cross beams that he's placed between the legs, ensuring a rigid frame. For the seat, he lines up several 1-inch thick branches side by side, nailing them securely to create a flat, sturdy platform. As the cabin walls rise from the earth, they're not just any walls. They're practically thermal blankets. The surrounding soil acts like a thick quilt, hugging the cabin and keeping it cozy year-round. This means Ilya can ditch the extra heating and cooling systems, making this cabin a model of energy efficiency. You could say it's as snug as a bug in a rug, if that bug was really into sustainable living. Next, Ilya turns his attention to the table. Again, he selects 4 robust branches for the legs, measuring and aligning them until the foundation is perfectly level. Cross braces are added between the legs and fixed in place with nails, forming a stable structure that can handle outdoor use. The tabletop is crafted by laying several branches together to form a continuous surface. With each nail driven and every joint secured, Ilya steps back to admire his work, a harmonious blend of nature and craftsmanship. After completing the structural log frame, Ilya steps back for a brief moment of reflection before diving into the next phase, cladding the cabin with freshly cut logs. With a pile of one-of-a-kind logs at his side, their surfaces still bearing the rough, natural texture of the forest, he begins the meticulous process of building the walls. One by one, he lines up each freshly cut log along the frame, aligning them meticulously to form a continuous row. Each log is tapped into place with his hammer, the crisp sound echoing through the forest clearing. Once the first row is secure, Ilya moves on to the next layer. Climbing onto a temporary platform, he repeats the process, positioning each new log so that its notched edge interlocks perfectly with the log beneath it. The rhythmic hammering and the earthy scent of fresh timber create a natural symphony, marking each completed row as a small victory against the elements. At the rear of the dugout, Ilya turns his attention to fortifying and beautifying this often overlooked section. First, he carefully selects extra logs, each one bearing the rugged character of the forest, and positions them along the back wall. These additional logs not only provide structural reinforcement, but also create a layered, textured facade that echoes the natural rhythms of the woodland. Once the logs are firmly in place, Ilya begins the final touch, blending the cabin seamlessly into its surroundings. He gathers fresh soil and, with a practiced hand, shovels it over the added logs. Methodically, he packs the earth down, allowing it to obscure the back of the structure. But let's not forget, while insulation is great, nobody wants to live in a giant dirt cocoon. Enter the ancient Serbian ventilation system. It's the secret sauce that keeps the cabin breathable, preventing it from turning into a damp, musty relic of forgotten dreams. Proper airflow ensures that the only thing lingering in this cabin is the scent of fresh timber and forest air. As if the dugout won't already be impressing you, Ilya will take it up a notch by crafting a door that could withstand a winter wolf attack. With sturdy hinges and a lock that will scream trespassers beware, this door will be the gateway to the ultimate nature retreat. And let's be honest, it will look pretty darn amazing too. Let's take a moment to appreciate the wood. Not just any wood, but sustainably sourced timber, because Ilya is all about keeping nature on his good side. Wood's natural insulating properties make it a top choice for this build. Plus, it's easy to work with, even in conditions where your breath freezes before it leaves your mouth. But let's face it, wood's awesome, but it can't do everything. Like keep your toes from turning into ice pops. Enter Ilya's brilliant solution, a well-insulated wood stove. This little beauty isn't just about staying warm, it's about giving the wood in your cabin a long, happy life. After all, nobody wants to live in a tiny wooden icebox that warps and wears down faster than you can say Jack Frost. Ilya, ever the DIY mastermind, installs the stove and even hooks up an exhaust pipe to safely vent all those toxic gases outside. Because while a warm cabin is great, it's even better when it's not also doubling as a carbon monoxide chamber. Safety first, folks. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room, or rather, the frostbite in the forest. Building a cabin in the great outdoors isn't exactly a walk in the park, especially when the weather turns colder than your ex's heart. But here's the good news. Unlike some materials that turn into brittle, useless junk when the temperature drops, wood is like that one friend who stays cool under pressure. It maintains its strength and structural integrity, even when it's colder than a penguin's toenails outside. Now, let's talk about walls. Specifically, traditional dugout walls that are as clever as they are earthy. These aren't your run-of-the-mill plasterboard affairs. We're talking about a mix of clay and straw. Why? Because clay has thermal mass properties that are basically like having a built-in heater and cooler in your walls. It absorbs, stores, and releases heat, making sure your cabin stays at that Goldilocks-approved temperature. Not too hot, not too cold. Even if you are not interested, let's talk about the straw. It's not just there to make your cabin look like the Three Little Pigs' dream home. When mixed with clay, it adds fibrous insulation, creating tiny air pockets that slow down heat transfer. Plus, this magical combo lets your walls breathe, literally, This natural breathability keeps moisture levels in check, preventing mold from crashing your rustic cabin party. By using clay and straw, Ilya isn't just building a cabin, he's paying homage to centuries-old Serbian traditions. These materials aren't just sustainable, they're also local heroes, reducing transportation costs and blending seamlessly into the surrounding landscape. The result is a cabin that looks like it sprouted right out of the hillside, a natural extension of the terrain, not some glaringly obvious human intrusion. And let's not forget the cultural significance. Traditional Serbian dugouts have been around for generations, passed down like a cherished family recipe. Today, while they might not be the go-to choice for primary residences, they've found new life as eco-friendly retreats, cultural heritage sites, and even tourist attractions. Ilya isn't just building a cabin. He's continuing an architectural tradition that has withstood the test of time. So, there you have it. Another chapter in Ilya's quest to turn $100 into the coziest, most resilient tiny cabin the forest has ever seen. Stay tuned as he keeps pushing the boundaries of what's possible with wood, clay, and a dash of ingenuity. If this video tickled your fancy, don't forget to swing by the Forest Paths channel for a whole lot more forestry goodness. Subscribe, smash that like button, and while you're at it, we'll be over here defrosting ourselves.